Hey Internet, Eric here. Today's video is going to be one for the Have You Ever Seen playlist. If you don't know what that is, Have You Ever Seen is a playlist I created where I try to shine a spotlight on a certain film where it feels like maybe I can count on on one hand how many people, not necessarily only that many of people have seen this film, but hardly anybody ever discusses it. At least to me, my circle of friends or random Facebook groups or Twitter or what have you. And I want to at least give a spotlight on a film that I really, really enjoy, and maybe other people will check out. I've talked about Freaked with Alex Winter, Iron Sky, a couple others. Like I said, I got a playlist, and I wasn't really thinking of doing this one until I was talking to friends. He's the co-host for my Two Bearded Losers podcast, and he knows I'm a huge Crispin Glover fan. He actually calls me one of the Crispin cultists, which I do wear with a badge of honor. And we're gonna talk about this coming week's podcast, and what it is God, I'm really excited to talk about. I'm gonna ask the question: have you ever seen Rubin and Ed? Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I discuss plot spoilers, specific scenes, what have you. This came out in 1991, starring Crispin Glover and Howard Hesseman. The basic plot is we're following Ed, okay, played by Howard Hesseman, and he's working for this, I think it's like a pyramid, pyramid scheme building company or what have you. They do all these seminars, and what he has to do, this is like his first time there, I think, and what he has to do is go find someone to bring to a seminar. And what he does is he bumps into Rubin, who is this big ass weirdo, wonderfully played by Crispin Glover. And he meets Crispin. Crispin is forced by his mother to go make a friend, against his wishes, to go make a friend. And they bump into each other at the same time. And Ed asks him a couple questions, and Rubin, thinking that this will get his mom off his back, and I think get his radio back because his mom took it away. He can make a friend. Ed can get someone for the seminar. But Ed has to pick up Rubin at his apartment and drive him to the seminar. Ed thinks it's going to be nothing, no big deal. Meets Rubin, goes into the fridge to get some ice for his water, and inside that fridge is Rubin's dead cat. And the rest of the movie is Ed will be able to take Rubin to this seminar if he helps Rubin find the perfect spot to bury his cat. It's a weird fucking concept, but my god, I love this movie because it's so fucking hilarious. I'm laughing my ass off within like the first 3 or 4 minutes, and I'm laughing my ass off numerous times. First off, we'll get to Crispin in a second. I'm going to talk Howard Hesseman. He's the one that plays Ed. You can see how the DVD, like the artwork, isn't the best. I bought this off of what's his name, Trent Harris, the director. He has a web store because I don't think this has ever officially been released. All of his movies, he did like the Oakerly Kid, or it's called the Beaver trilogy or what have you. It's so much more. He got a web store for all of his work. But Howard Hesseman plays Ed. Ed is this down on his luck guy. He's divorced from Karen Black, who, she looks like the Crypt Keeper even more so in this than she ever has. Now, down on his luck, divorced. This is the only thing he's got going for him. He's a likable loser. He wants to. His motivation is, I gotta get Rubin to this seminar, and you see him biting his tongue numerous times because he's got to get Rubin there. He's got fantastic chemistry with Crispin. They're the perfect odd couple. You got this straight-laced, hey, let's get this done in Ed, matched up with this big fucking weirdo of Rubin. They work off each other. They work off each other perfectly. And arguing like an old married couple. And then at the end when they finally, see that they have so many things in common. It's great. I love when Howard loses his cool on Rubin. And then, sorry. He does stuff like that. Really well done. He's funny. I love his hatred for his ex-wife, Karen Black. So yeah, I really enjoy Howard Hesseman. Crispin Glover. I could do a whole video on my love for Crispin, so I won't get too much into that, but in this, he's fucking funny as hell. He's so weird. He's got, you know, they look like fruit stripe gum, bell bottoms, this weird fucking wig, platform shoes. If you've ever seen the appearance where he's on David Letterman and almost kicks him in the face, he's dressed up as Rubin here. He's really, really weird. Man loves his cat. But when we first meet to him, he's obsessed with like his cat's squeak toy, and he dances around with it. So we know he's not right, but his delivery is so perfect, so like on to the point. Like when he meets Ed, and Ed asks him a couple questions. Basically, it's like, are you happy with your life? And then Rubin just goes, "Yep." Ask him another question. "Yep." And then he says, "Well, if you answered no to any of these, you should come to my seminar." Well, the problem is, Rubin wants to make a friend. So, cut forward to when Ed picks him up. "Are you ready to come to the seminar?" "Nope." And then, like, shuts the door on him or something like that. It's just this forced delivery. There's, like, not forced delivery, straight and to the point delivery by Crispin Glover. Fantastic. Makes it funny, especially with the way Ed reacts to it. I love the way they argue. They have fun conversations, like when they're driving across the desert. It's a road trip movie because they're borrowing the company car, and Rubin's driving, and they're arguing, and they're drinking a couple beers, and Ed says, "You got to admit that this is kind of crazy, going cross country to bury his fucking cat." And Rubin's like, "I don't have to admit anything. You can't make me admit anything." And then Ed's like, "No, you need to admit. You at least got a whole full head of hair." He's like, "No, I don't have to admit that." So he takes things so literal, and I love that. Everything about just Crispin Glover, just his look, his mannerisms, like I said, the way he plays off of Hesseman, wonderful. They're the only really main characters in this movie. The only other character is really Karen Black. She's there for maybe 5 minutes, and she's scary to look at, but she's a vindictive bitch, and she does her job. So, yeah. I love how bizarre a lot of this stuff is. Not just with the characters. They get locked. The car breaks down and they get lost in the desert. Okay, and the heat gets to them. Like, for some reason, Rubin, instead, he doesn't have a hat, so he puts the hubcap on his head to keep the sunlight out. But instead, of course, it attracts the heat. So he starts hallucinating, and he has this really bizarre hallucination where he's watching his cat water skiing while he's in an inner tube, and he's waving at a pretty girl in a bikini, and he's having fun, and it's nice seeing Rubin in this hallucination letting his hair down, I guess, for a lack of a better word, and just having fun. And then, so you have this peaceful hallucination, and you get to Ed's totally crazy. He's driving in his company car, and he sees Karen Black in the right in front of him, and he just mows her down, and she's stuck to the grill, and he's yelling and screaming and laughing hysterically. So I love how, again, it's showing the opposites of each other, Rubin and Ed. And I also like some bizarre things, as Rubin doesn't have any friends, and he likes it that way. But when they're lost in the desert, he's always mad at Ed because Ed's so frustrated with him. Like, "We got to get home. We got to get to the seminar." Rubin's like, "I got to bury my cat." That's all he's worried about. Well, there's a scene where Ed is thirsty, and Rubin kind of extends that, that olive branch or whatever. But what he does is, there's nothing for them to drink, so he takes off his shoes, and he's drinking the sweat from, like, the insoles. And Ed's just getting done, dry heaving, and then Rubin just looks at him, and he offers him the inside of the heel or whatever for the sweat, and then it just goes on from there. Now, as much as I love this film, it does drag a lot when the two get separated, because they have a falling out. Rubin ends up going this way, and Ed ends up going that way, and it drags. Ed meets a couple of rednecks. That it goes really nowhere. It's just a scene for filler. Rubin ends up, passing out in a cave and has another hallucination. So when they're not together, it's kind of boring. But when they are together, it's so much fun. I love when they get together and they find an old abandoned, and it shows how childish Rubin still is too. They found an abandoned home or trailer or something, and Ed walks in and Rubin's just laughing. What the hell are you laughing at? He points to the window and someone has written Andy Warhol like sucks penis or something like that, something to that effect, and Rubin can't stop laughing. And then Ed is mad because he says like Andy Warhol was a genius painter and blah blah blah. And it's just fun. And I thought it was funny because I think eventually either before this, why did I say eventually? Either before this or after this, Crispin Glover played Warhol in The Doors. So again, it's just them arguing. They have great chemistry. And then what's even great is they finally get to the seminar and there's the guy leading the seminar, and it's a perfect scene where Rubin doesn't realize he's saying the wrong thing. The guy says, "Raise your hand if your life's a total failure." And then Ed's just sitting there, and Rubin looks at him. He's like, "Raise your hand, Ed." And then Ed just punches him in the gut or something like that. Fun interaction with these guys. It's hilarious. And then I love the scene where Ed realizes this whole thing's a sham. The seminars, and he explodes, and then they're walking down with each other. And they realize what they like and dislikes are the same. They both hate like new age music or something like that, and they hate not hippies, not hipsters. They hate something. I don't know. Some group of people. Like I don't know if it's I don't know. Not like race related, but just like like a generalization of people. They hate them. They find out they're both Republicans, I think, and they just have a blast. And then they become friends at the end. But then there's like more bizarre stuff. Like after there's a scene where Rubin wants to stick up for Ed because he sees the evil ex-wife, and he's like 20 feet away from her. And what does he do? He flexes and flips off one of his platform shoes, and we get this slow motion shot of the shoe flying through the air, and it hits her car window and freaks her out. So I just love this movie because it's so much fun. It's a great road trip movie. Great, two people, polar opposites, can't stand each other initially, become friends. It is a good movie about friendship. The chemistry between these guys is so much fun. Like I said, I've laughed my butt off every time I've watched this. Just a lot of fun. And then just the bizarreness. It's not just weird for being weird's sake. Once you get to realize how Rubin is, you realize I'm like, wow, I can really believe that. Just like with the shoes, flying through the air and stuff like that, and and then just little things like they're making small talk, and they're like, oh, I had a dog, and oh, what was your cat's name, and this and that, and Rubin pulls out a photograph of him, a very sweet photograph of him and his cat. And Ed wants to give it back. He's like, "No, you can keep it. I have 24 more of those." Just goofy things like that. Or what is it? He's holding up the picture of the cat, and Ed sees there's no tail. He's like, "What happened to the tail? Ceiling fan or something like that?" He says, "Electric fan." And then he says, Ed's like, "Yeah, those electric fans can be crazy." And then Rubin says something like, "Yeah, there was this and this and this amount of electric fan injuries in 1990 or something like that." So it's just funny, weird dialogue. Like I said, highly recommend Rubin and Ed. If you don't want to go to the guy's website, it's free on YouTube. But I just enjoyed this movie so much I want to watch it, whenever I want to. Yeah, highly recommend Rubin and Ed. One of my favorite Crispin Glover performances. Also check out him dressed as Rubin on David Letterman. He's been dressed as Rubin in numerous music videos. I think he's in the Clowny Clown video. That's something in itself as well. But yeah, check out Rubin and Ed. Hell of a lot of fun. Like I said, one of my favorite Crispin performances, and I fucking love the man. So, and again, Howard Hesseman is fucking funny as the straight man to Rubin's crazy. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, all that crap. click the bell, comment below, tell me if you've seen this movie, tell me if you've seen any of Trent Harris's other films. Friends said he had seen the entire Beaver trilogy. I've only seen the Oakley Kid part, but he said it was great. Let me know. Yeah, so how am I going to end this? I don't know. I'll just say thank you for watching, click the bell, all that shit. Cheers, and my cat can eat a whole watermelon. I'm not explaining that line.